This is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're doing our shaky cam interior review inside a Toyota RAV4 Adventure. Adventure. I really think they should have just used #adventure, but you know, that's because I'm trending in social and stuff. Anyway, this is 2018 model. This is a special edition for this year. I believe it will be the last year of this generation of the RAV4. It's about due for a new look, so I'm sure it'll get a major makeover for 2019. Toyota hasn't made any announcements, but the timing seems about right. Anyway, back to the car. The interior's roughly the same as any 2018 RAV4, with a few exceptions. Most of the changes are cosmetic. This is basically a RAV4 somewhere in its middle of the road packaging. So I don't remember all the nomenclature that Toyota uses. Probably the LE or LX, one of those. Anyway, it's got some good stuff and it's missing some good stuff. But you can upgrade a lot of it. This is the actual package for the Adventure, not the Adventure with a bunch of other stuff added on. So back to it. Major differences between the Adventure model and the rest of the RAV4 line are slightly more ground clearance and packaging. Yeah, there's a couple. I think there's a color option that's only available on this. It's probably this maroon color I have it in, and also there's a lot of badging. I'll show you some of that. Like, see that down there? That's the Adventure badge. That's on the tailgate of the car. It's on all these special floor mats. You can see the big version, the little version. There's rubber floor mats throughout the vehicle, as well as a rubber cargo mat. And that also shows up on, I think I already said that, shows up on the tailgate. So otherwise, it's basically the same as most RAV4. So you have your windows over here. You have seat. That's another thing. This package comes with the winter package. So it has the steering wheel heating, seat heating. Blah, blah. It also has adaptive cruise, which I'll show you. So over here you have your mirrors and whatnot. There's your, that's what made me think of it. There's your steering wheel heat. This is your lane departure. It just beeps at you when you leave, when it thinks you're going over the line. I generally tend to turn those off if they don't actually actively intervene, because they're just annoying. And dimmers. On the steering wheel, over here you have controls for telematics and whatnot. Down here is your voice control button. Plan to use that a lot in a Toyota, because it's probably the most convenient way to interact with Entune, the infotainment system. Otherwise, you're probably going to be pushing a lot of buttons. This puts things on hold, also mutes the audio, and changes modes over on the infotainment over there. This also moves the infotainment, so you can do like song select and whatnot. And this is volume controls and, of course, your telephone. Over here, you have these controls for that up there, the driver information display. I'll get into that in a minute. Trip button, back button. This is the adaptive cruise distance button. So when you have adaptive cruise on, this says, this dictates the distance you want to keep. Distance is relative to speed. It is not car lengths per se. It is how much time it will take you to stop. So if you're going 80 miles an hour and you set the shortest distance, you're still going to be 4 or 5 car lengths behind whatever's in front of you. Down here is the cruise control dongle. So you set the cruise, cancel the cruise, reset the cruise, turn it on and off by pushing this, etc. Used to hate these. I'm getting more used to it, and I believe Toyota's designer, engineers, whatever, have moved it up a little bit, because I'm not knocking these with my knee like I used to when they first introduced them. So that's a good thing. I've gotten used to it, and I like that you can see it. So sitting where I am right now, this phone is right in front of my face. I can see that clearly. It's not like Mercedes or something where it hides up under here. So, washer, wipers, etc., lighting and whatnot. All of those are pretty intuitive. You should know them by now if you know how to drive. Looking at the instrument cluster. Over here, tachometer. Over here, speedometer, fuel, engine heat, and then their driver information display. That little display shows you a lot of stuff. Right now you can see I really haven't been driving much. I just took the kids to school, so I've been driving 13 minutes at an average of 5 miles per hour. Most of my time in that 13 minutes has been idling because it is bitter, bitter cold outside. You can see it's 29 degrees, and we have about a 30-mile-an-hour wind going on today. This is the frost warning that will change according to other things. There's your parking and whatnot odometer down there. Keeps trying to focus on my finger, huh? So you can flip through the screens. You can see a few things, like you can see that cruise control is off, lane departure's off. There are no warning messages. Here you can set a few things. I've mostly been looking at this screen. You can also bring up a screen on, let me see if I can find it. Actually, it is this one. You can go like this. Go up and down with those buttons, and there's a lot of good stuff. Stay awake warning. There's your what's going on with the vehicle, traction controls and such, and lots of vehicle mile per gallon stuff. So for the most part, that's about it. There's a digital speedometer and a couple other things you can also bring up on there. Most of the time I've been watching miles per gallon. I've been watching my average efficiencies. So longer trips, I keep this on. Shorter trips, I've been changing it around. Over here is the Entune Infotainment. So I want to point out up here, this is a cool Toyota thing. So you see these 3 seat belts? That's the back seat behind me. If it senses there's people in those seats and they don't have seat belts on, this thing goes red. Really cool. This is the passenger airbag indicator there, and not much comes up over here. Whoops, not much comes up over here. Duke's lights right there. Infotainment. So this is the base Entune system, so it can't really do that much. There's no satellite radio. There's no like navigation. There's a lot of stuff that's not here that you could have on an upper level one if you upgraded. So for the most part, audio's been off of my phone, and it just occurred to me I'm still connected by Bluetooth, so I hope this is recording audio. Anyway, so the quick buttons are fairly obvious on this one because there's not a whole lot to show you. So you'll probably be using the Seek Track button a lot, the audio button a lot, and the phone button a lot. Otherwise, you'll probably be ignoring most of this. So right now, this is the audio. So this is showing the audio stuff. You can go to the car button, which is cool. You can see all these graphs and metrics. So you can flip through these using Seek Track. You can look at different things that have been going on with your driving. Kind of neat, useful information if you're trying to maximize your MPGs and such. On that note, in highway driving with just me in the car, I have bested 26 miles to the gallon at 80 miles an hour. So this vehicle does pretty good as far as fuel economy goes. There are some trade-offs for that, of course. Most of them are what you would expect, like not a lot of interest in downshifting, things like that. Over here, here's your climate controls. Pretty straightforward. You set a climate, you set a temp, you hit auto, it does that. Or over here's your defrosters. Been using those a lot this week. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Not a lot to show you. Down here, you have the eco and sport modes. Honestly, there isn't a whole ton of difference. When you put it in sport mode, the throttle's a little more responsive, and it may or may not downshift more readily. But for the most part, there's not a whole lot of difference between eco and sport. Seat bun warmers there. You can see I have mine on. That thing, I've never figured out what that button does. I'm going to have to look it up because I've pushed the button, nothing happens. I've turned it off, nothing seems to change. This cover's open, but you see that's where the USBs and whatnot are. Here's your 12 volts. Down there, that's a decent spot to put your phone if your phone is small enough to fit in there. Mine is not. It hangs out on one side. So I've been setting it in this so it's sitting up. That seems to work awesome. Drink holder here. Basically Starbucks in this one. You won't get a big anything in that. Shifter here. Larger drink holder here, which you can get a full 1 liter into if you really want to. Handbrake. Yeah. So that's about it. There's pretty good storage in this. It's got a top tray and a bottom tray. So you can see there's the top tray. and the bottom down there. This package does not have more USBs. You have to upgrade the infotainment in order to get more. Nice spot right there. Passenger can throw their phone or whatnot in that. You can see the vent over there is closed. That's what these round vents do. You can turn them 360 degrees. That is an awesome design. I love that. Toyota's been using it for a little while, and it is great. As I said, the floor mats change a little bit. A few other things change. If you live where I live, you're going to need an ice scraper, even if it is pink. Back seats are good. You can see the kids have been in there. So I've got safety seats in place. Nice back seat, roomier than you would expect in a vehicle this size. It is a pretty small car, and it's pretty roomy. And cargo area is also a good size. Folding all of the seats and scooching my seat slightly forward, I was able to get a twin bed with the frame into this vehicle. So it is pretty good on the cargo. Very versatile. Otherwise, I don't have a lot else to tell you. This has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com in a 2018 Toyota RAV4 Adventure. Talk to you again soon.